Alright, Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Basham Yahweh Shai, Basham Rakakadash, double honor to the apostles, salute to your brother's teaching, the word in sincerity and in truth. This news report here goes back to January the 5th, 2025. I just typed in RFID implants, and they don't really, the wording of it they don't really say it like that. You know, you have to kind of put in different things to get it up, the info up, because they don't, the way they're promoting the RFID mark of the beast chip that will be mandatory according to Bible prophecy, according to truth. They have a way that they've brought it in. You got the neural link. That's one thing, you know, and the other stuff. Now this news report here should state ban mandatory human microchip implants. Now when you check, I was reading through some of this, and at the end he's talking about how religious groups, you know, people that the problems and difficulties that you'll have with something like this is like religious groups, or then the hacking thing, all sorts of issues that they talk about. So what this shows, when you see something like this, another thing he goes into is Elon Musk and what he's doing. He kind of touches on that. I remember this was in January, so one thing to know when you see something like this is that means it's happening. Or this is, you know, it's going. It's why would they say this, or should we ban it if it ain't something that's happening or gonna happen? If it's not a threat and it would never happen, then why on earth would you even have a news report like that? And he goes into stuff, Sweden and other things, just to show you how real this is. So, look at all the things mentioned in this news report. I'm not going to read this. Is it Dan Lorman, international recognized cybersecurity leader? Okay, so that's where he's at. And he's talking about the mark of the beast implants. So this is real. This is govtech.com. So this ain't this conspiracy website. You know, people, oh yeah, it's in a conspiracy theory or something. It's not a conspiracy theory website. Should state ban mandatory human microchip implants. A new report examines the rise of preemptive bans on mandated human microchip implants, noting that 13 states have recently enacted such a ban, despite no companies currently requiring the tech. Well, could about not be no. You see, the thing is, you've got the tech out there, to be fair. So the tech is being used, which he even has to come around and say that. He says the Carnegie Council for Ethics and International Affairs has released a report entitled "The Rise of Preemptive Bans on Human Microchip Implants," looking primarily at how some states are preparing for an increased prevalence of this technology. For the states, you know, they talking about conspiracies. This is fact. Notable more states are enacting preemptive bans to prevent employers from requiring that their workers be microchipped. US states are increasingly enacting legislation to preemptively ban employers from forcing workers to be microchipped, which entails having a subdermal chip surgically inserted between one's thumb and index finger. That's the mark of the beast. pretty much you go to work and then they're like, well, you know what? You can't work anymore. Yeah, you're gonna be laid off, fired. Um, if you don't get um the mark of the beast, you can't work at your job and all that. So everything's AI and tech anyway. Wrote the authors of the report. Internationally, more than 50,000 people have elected to receive microchip implants to serve as their swipe keys, credit cards, and means instantaneously share social media information. 50,000 people. This technology is especially popular in Sweden, where chip implants are more widely accepted to use for gym access, e-tickets on transport systems, and to store emergency contact information. So out there in Sweden, they're using chip implants to use the gym. So, they're chipped up over there. E-tickets. E-tickets on a trip. So to get train ticket. So that's a lot traveling. What they say on the trip, well, look, you can't get on this train unless you got a chip. Or they say, well, you can't work that job or to go. You can't buy. You're hungry. You can't buy. You can't enter that shop. You can't even make it. You can't make a transaction. That's where they want to get this. That you have to be chipped, tracked, traced to make a transaction. This is big. This is a big prophecy, and that's some of yours sold out major Israelite groups. That's why you don't want to go into it. And if it's not that, it's the fact that um there was something else on my brain. Kind of slipped my brain, but a lot of yous are sold out, or a lot of yous wanna, you don't have faith. You don't wanna have to lock into the spirit when the Lord calls close on this. Um, so basically, man, you don't have faith. To know what we're going to eat. Well, Matt, let's get this. Um, let's get this. Isaiah 65:13. Therefore, thus saith the Lord power. Behold, my servants shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. So, if you've got faith and trust in the Lord Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, yeah, you're gonna eat when all economic collapse, the mark of the beast, and all that pops off. What else? You hunger, food shortage, and things of that nature. Because you read the scriptures, the Lord had ways that we fed men of the Lord in times of calamity and so the Lord, through the Spirit, people could be hungry and there's famines, and the Lord can make it where you find there's many ways He can do it. Miracles and things of that nature. Even you stumbling across something. So it says, my servant shall eat, but ye shall be hungry. Behold, my servants shall drink, but ye shall be thirsty. Behold, my servant shall rejoice, but ye shall be ashamed. And that's the rewards of putting your trust in Yahweh Shai, in the Lord, right? So these things are going to happen as to where it's going to be known who the servants are. It tells you that in the scripture as well. That's another scripture. So the Lord's going to do stuff to show who the men of the Lord are. And a lot of you know it right now. You're just hating. Like, you got these individuals that sold out, and they know, they know they are, but, you got Bishop Nate, then you got Alizar and people like that. And look at what some of them, they just do things for the power, or they get the power of the money, and they get to they manipulate. That's why they was attacking what we were saying about the mark, or IUIC anyway. There was a period where he just kept it, screaming down the mic, trying to convince the congregation, because he didn't want none of that congregation waking up and thinking, you know what, these brothers is right. So this is what we're dealing with here. That's pretty much it. Now I can make this a long video. I'm gonna make this short. There's a lot in this, but you get the point. Lord willing, for the spirit, for do a longer video, I'll read the whole thing, because it would just make the video, sometimes Lord willing, I'll come back to this report and then do a longer video on this, but for the purpose of the short one, you get the information. So with that, I'm going to say shalom.